My name's Robbie, you guys. I used to be in the Army and I was in the Air Force for a little bit, but then I coached Olympic teams and gee whiz, then I started a nonprofit that brings guys like Meb to bases all over the world. We have a total force fitness program, and in the Air Force, a lot of Air Force here, right? Comprehensive airman fitness. So that's a lot of teaching and preaching, and what I do is I try to bring guys like Meb that have a story worth listening to. They're likable, they're relatable, and they're relevant to the mission. And we've been doing it since 2006. I, like a lot of folks, our Team Red, White, and Blue folks, our Snowball Express folks, yeah, we've got some Eagles in the house. Here's the funny story with my nonprofit, American 300, and Team Red, White, and Blue. I was at Taji, and I was having a chat with this amazingly fired up officer. I think you Eagles know him as Mike Irwin. And we were talking about our nonprofits, and as you Eagles all know, a bunch of West Point, look at this. Let's give a hand to the Air Force Marathon staff. The walls are coming down, baby.
Great to see you.
We'll do the same thing over there. We'll do the same thing over there, because we want everyone to have fun with this. This is a breakout for an Olympian, in the sense that competing at the Olympic stage and the World Championship stage as an open athlete, there could be some Masters stuff going on with this guy in the years to come. It's already started. But Mike Irwin, you Eagles, and I, we were chatting. And he told me about what he was going to do, and I was telling him about I was doing what I was doing. And here's the funny thing. I wasn't alone on that trip when I first got exposed to Team Red, White, and Blue. I had a guy by the name of Frank Shorter with me. Anybody heard that name before?
Oh, yeah.
Pulse check. Okay. For those of you that didn't have a hand that went up, Frank was the first U.S. men's Olympic gold medal in the marathon. Now, it's pretty cool to bring Olympians over to see our brothers and sisters in uniform around the world. But that's not why I brought Frank. Not really why. Why I brought Frank is that he had a story that was relevant and relatable to my brothers and sisters in uniform. Frank woke up out on the balcony of his Olympic village in Munich. And he woke up to some noise going on right across from me to the Wright State Athletics red, white, and blue tarp was about the spacing in the Olympic Village between the building he was in and the next building over with a courtyard. And Frank was sleeping out on the balcony of the Olympic Village because his roommate, not going to mention any names, had snuck his girlfriend into the Olympic Village.
I don't know who his name is.
So Frank opted to sleep out on the balcony that night. Showed you there was a problem with security. And he woke up, and any of you that have seen the famous PLO photo of the terrorist on the balcony, that was taken from just 2 rooms down from Frank. That's what Frank woke up to. And those Olympic athletes in 1972 Munich all got together, and they was very close to shutting down the Olympics after the massacre. A bunch of Israeli wrestlers were captured by terrorists, held hostage, and you can read the rest in the storybooks. But it was a bad day for the Olympics. And Frank got to be a representative for the U.S. Olympic team and talking in an open forum with the representatives from all the nations. And he stood up and he said, you know, if we close these games down, if we suspend these Olympic Games, who's the real winner? And he said a few more words that struck home with the athletes. And so when it came to a vote, the athletes voted in majority to continue the games. And a few days after that, Frank towed the starting line of the marathon, and with a steel-willed determination, went out to run that race. I think he probably had a goal to win it, for sure. Was he a favorite to win it? No, he wasn't. We're going to have a very special guest come up on the stage here in about 3 minutes. Meb is going to take over the stage, so if you're not here, I got people like trying to sprint down the stairs right now. Safety first, we'll wait for you. Wear your reflective belt, absolutely. And you're a munitions guy? You're wearing red today for a reason, or what? No, I'm joking. But that's the story I wanted to share. And you're going to hear a similar story to that from our very, very special guest. We had the opportunity, how many were at the, I know there's someone here from the Breakfast of Champions. Yeah, like a whole bunch. So you're going to hear, I hope, parts of that story again. And it never gets old, does it? It never gets old. So, I think everyone's in the house now.
Hi, I took your seat.
Okay, folks. For the first time ever at the Air Force Marathon, Rick, we good to go? I know you Air Force folks like to do everything on time.
Right in here?
I'm still just waiting for Army to win a football game. Jeff's trying though, isn't he? But what tragedy there. We had one of our players get graduated here last week. Okay, everyone here now? And people can keep filtering in. Everyone comfortable? How many of you are running tomorrow? Yeah. The last thing in the world we want to do is everyone be like stressed out. So you get comfortable, you relax, you enjoy. Our very, very special guest from the great nation of Eritrea came to the U.S. via Italy. And I think you know the story, right? You know that we have this amazing Hall of Fame NCAA four-time champion with us. I think you all know that we have the New York City Marathon champion with us. I think you all know that evil tried to knock us down again back in 2013. And I think you all know this guy, after winning an Olympic silver medal, came back in 2014 and won this thing called the Boston Marathon for America. No more further ado other than to say that he is supported by an amazing, amazing family. And he is about family. He is about balanced excellence, and he is everything that rings true and makes this Air Force Marathon and the Marine Corps Marathon and the Army 10 miler and our Navy Marathon and the Fort to Base Navy race. It's what makes America great. One of the greatest runners of all time, Meb Keflezighi. Come on up, Meb.
Thank you.
God bless, Daddy.
God bless. I'll try. How's everybody doing? Are you excited? I am. Thank you so much for having me here, Air Force Marathon, and it's a great honor to be an American and represent our country every single day, but sometimes every 4 years. For some reason, some people tend to remember every 4 years, right? But we are citizens of the world. We are citizens of the United States every single day. And I've been great fortune to come to the United States, but before that, in 1975, I was born in Eritrea in the middle of a 30-year war. I didn't know what tomorrow will bring. I didn't know what the future holds for me or my brothers. But my dad has taken steps. In fact, it was my mom that encouraged him to escape to Sudan because he was going to get prison or he's going to get killed. Not many very good choice, is it? But he didn't want to leave. In fact, my mom and his father-in-law, her dad, gave him the blessing to leave. Otherwise, he was just going to be, in Eritrea, not sure what tomorrow will bring. But he walked 225 miles to Sudan. Just bear in mind, you're going to run the marathon tomorrow. It's 26.2 miles. We got a lot of sponsors, a lot of volunteers, and a lot of discipline, a lot of training to make it happen. But for him, Sudan is that way, and it's 225 miles away. Bag of barley, canteen of water, stick for protection, and $25. Not know where your next night will be, where you're going to sleep. But the biggest obstacle that he was leaving behind was his wife and 5 kids, and 1 on the way. But my mom and dad committed to each other to tell, there was no way of telling the next baby that I was expecting was going to be a boy or girl. Basically, he told her, call her Be'emnet if it's a boy, Amina if it's a girl, which means we trust that one day I'll make it a safe land and I'll look after you. He even had sleep on top of the tree, because the lions, the hyenas, and others, if you sleep on the floor while you are zoned out sleep, they're going to catch you. But at least you have a little bit of warning when you are on the top of the tree. So he made it through that, and he went to Sudan and made it in 7 days. 7 days was tough, but he got a job, 3 different jobs, but he was looking for was his kids next time. Am I going to see them? Am I going to be able to meet up with them? All he wanted once he got to Sudan was, can I see my kids, and can I take them on Saturday to play soccer or go in the field? We take it for granted some things. Once he made it Sudan to Italy, I have a sister, half-sister, Ruth. It was her mom that saved him to go to Italy. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. But it's the kindness of forgiveness that you have to give. You know, when he went to Italy, he worked 2 different jobs as a landscaper and custodian. And one day his boss, PhD in economics, got acquainted and got to know each other. My dad asked him, you know, Dr. Brindisi, his name, my dad was working very hard, and he's like, why are you working so hard? If my dad has to clean this, he would lift this thing up, put it over there, wipe underneath, and clean everything else. And he says, I got to save 6 kids and a wife. And he said, my dad asked him, can I have a loan of 10 million lira? Just imagine going to your boss and asking for 10 million lira, which is about 6,000 US dollars at that time, 1986. You might get yes, maybe no. But Dr. Brindisi told him to come back in a few days. When he came back from a few days, he gave him an envelope of 10 million lira cash. And he said, this is not a loan, it's a gift. And that's how we got saved. If it wasn't for the generosity of Dr. Brindisi, for the commitment of my dad, and for the courage of my mom, I wouldn't be where I am today. In Italy, it was a place of peace. But my parents always wanted a better educational opportunities for their kids. But bear in mind, my mom never had a formal education, but she's one of the wisest women I ever know. My dad only went to 7th grade education, and he's one of the most intelligent people I know. It is what I could do for others. When my dad went to 7th grade, it wasn't an education for him. It was an education for the rest of his family. But they saw the future in Italy, that it was peace, but the land of opportunity lies in the United States. They want to be able for us to have the education and move out along. October 21st, 1987. I remember it was like yesterday when we first came to the United States. We just learned new language in Italy. The first time I saw TV ever, 10 years old. I have no idea how the people fit in there, so I have to go behind the TV to see if they were there. Bear in mind, been 10 years old. And then we come to the United States, new culture, new language. He woke us up at 4:30 a.m. How many guys run in the morning like 5:30 or 6? I know you're paying. I'm not running, but I was studying English at 4:30 in the morning because my dad wanted us to education before 7:30 class. But through hard work and perseverance, a lot of good things can come. My oldest brother had it the most difficult. He was placed in 9th grade. Imagine yourself now going to a different country and put in 9th grade. Not an easy, is it? But through hard work, he got the most outstanding student at Roosevelt Junior High. And that was not even smaller than this cup, a trophy, a Latin trophy, that my parents put on top of the TV before flat screen TVs, put on the top. That was the embodiment of what hard work is, and that's what we did. And through hard work, great things can happen. I told you in 7th grade, PE teacher said just like this: if you work hard, you're gonna get A or a B. If you mess around or goof around, you're gonna get D or F. That magic number for 7th grade A was 615 mile. You get an A, you get a t-shirt that says Roosevelt Junior High Club t-shirt. I wanted those two. And I ran, it's not around the track, it's like around the softball field, around the ramp, around the baseball field, finished in the middle of the campus. I ran as hard as I can. To his surprise and everybody else's, including myself, I ran a 5:20 mile. That good? Got me the A and the t-shirt. He immediately says, "You're gonna go to the Olympics." But bear in mind, I grew up in a village where there was no electricity. I didn't watch TV. I didn't speak the language. I have no idea what the Olympics were. And I'm like, got me the A. And I phoned my dad, and he says, "Dad, I ran a 5:20 miles. Tell the truth." Because it was faster than my older brothers. He didn't believe it, but that's the truth. And people can tell you're going to be an Olympian, but hard work, perseverance, overcoming obstacles lies ahead. And that's what I did. And sometimes I look at my background and see how fortunate I am to live in the United States, and the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, all those people that make the services available for us so we could enjoy the road races, whether it's 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, or play on the weekend with our kids. That's the moments that the United States provides. You might know about my running, but equally my brothers and sisters have achieved great things. From the guy that had it the hardest, he became an electrical engineer. MBA, doctor, law, Stanford, UCLA, Berkeley, UC San Diego. It's because my parents emphasized education is the key to life. Running is fun, but you gotta have a backup, because when you're one injury away, and for me personally, until I graduated from UCLA, I never gave running a priority. Stay up to midnight to do your homework, or 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock comes around, you gotta roll and do the work. But through hard work and a lot of good people that help us be the best that we can be. I remember Mike Anderson goes, when I was in high school, he goes, "You're gonna be a beautiful marathon runner." I'm like, "How far is that?" Round tab, it says, you're gonna be a marathoner. I'm like, "I'm a miler." But people can see the future of yours. And for me, I gave my first run, a marathon in 2002. I loved it for the first 17, 18 miles. And I hit a wall. And I said, first and last, I never want to do that again. My mom was there, and my dad was trying to massage me, and my mom was there, and she said, she doesn't speak very much English. She goes, 5K, 10K is okay. No more marathon for you. Because she saw the pain I went through, as any mom would. And since then, it's been a great journey to run the marathon. As you must know that in 2000, I ran the 10K. In 2004, I was fortunate enough to bring a silver medal for our country after Frank Schroeder, who alluded earlier. And 2004, fourth marathon, I'm going to do bigger and bigger things in 2008, but you don't always get what you want. At the trials, I had a pelvis church fracture. To make things more worse, my good friend Ryan Shea, who was sitting to next on the bus to the sound line, passed away. It kind of puts life in perspective. So tomorrow, when you go out there and do the best you can, whether you run the 5K to the marathon, think about somebody who is ill, who's not challenged, that cannot do what you are doing, and then take that opportunity away. The rain might be whatever. Rain is rain. It's temporary for that distance. There are other people that are struggling, that are having challenges, maybe for a long time, maybe for the rest of their life. So that's where the motivation should come from, and say, you know what? I'm doing it for this person. And for me, Rio. Beijing didn't happen. London, I finished fourth. I'm like, second in Athens, fourth in Rio. I would be so happy to finish that third place in the between. I took my award ceremony with me, hoping to put on the podium one more last time. But you don't always get what you want or what you need. Or sometimes you train really well, that result might not come tomorrow. But never give up. Never give up on your dream. Never give up on the race, because by DNF or did not finish, you can't get it back. So when I was struggling, the marathon about 4 weeks ago, so one thing to heard about 26, 24, 25 miles, but my pain started at 13.4. I'm saying that's a long way to run, especially when I feel not feeling good. And I tried to close the gap because I still wanted to keep my dream alive, to run the podium. I ran 5:21. Before that, I was going under 5 minutes. 5:21 when I stopped and puked. Nothing came out. I was just desperation, and then I ran 5:08, 5:04, tried to close the gap, and then it happened again. 5:21. I'm like, okay, maybe not podium, but top 10, and then try to. You gotta have that self-talk as you will tomorrow, right? Can't let that person pass me. I'm gonna get him. And then, literally, I stopped 7 times. The last 1K, the last 2K, sorry. I had to stop one more time. It came out. I'm like, why now? We've been trying 6 other times. But the Irish guy passed me. I'm not going to catch him. I'm not going to catch the Australian guy, but anybody's behind me. I was like, I'm going to try to have enough gap. So when it gets to the finish line, it's going to be slippery, which it was slippery at the beginning. That's why I was on the back. I knew how slippery it's going to be. Trying to keep my mechanic, don't fall, celebrate, and say, wearing that USA jersey that got me to that finish line. And my daughters, I'm cheering. I'm saying, this is my last Olympics. I'm going to finish like Joni Bonnet, who finished her marathon when she won, the first woman when they allowed to compete the marathon. Took her hat off. That was almost, I was going to do that, but then, woo! And I said, are you kidding me? The finish line is right there. I've been trying to get there for like 13 miles, and I can't even finish line. So I pulled myself to that finish line. I just did a couple push-ups. And people are now challenging me to do push-ups. I'm more known for that than probably finishing at the Olympics in the middle of the pack, but it's always a great honor to represent our country at any level, whether it's the World Championship or every day or at the Olympic Games. If we can be the best we can be, I always tell people, run to win doesn't always mean get first place, but getting the best out of yourself each time and every time in whatever profession that you're on. And if we could do that, we can be a better society and we'd be united. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. All the best. I can do a couple questions. Anybody got questions? What's next? So I know you guys are my running family. You guys know how far a marathon is. It's 26.2 miles, and internationally that's 42 kilometers. I've done 24 marathons, and I will do 26 competitive marathons in honor of the miles. Coincidentally, I'm going to be 42. That's in kilometers, 42 kilometers. Eventually, I want to go to speaking engagements, whether it's graduations or businesses, and also coaching where I can help others accomplish their goal, because so many things happen in my life with running that I learned a lot for the last 27 years, and I want to be able to pass to other people and spend more time with my kids, drop them off to school and pick them up from school, and and travel on the weekends, have fun, and inspire others. Anybody else?
How do you deal with injury, mentally and physically once
How do you deal with injuries? The question. Injuries are part of the sport. I knew that, and that's why I got my UCLA degree, just in case. That was a big weight off my shoulder because my parents emphasized education, and my mom says, why don't you get a job like your brothers and sisters, like on the desk, because she sees the exhaust on my face, and I believe I wrote a book called Meb Keflezighi. I believe in prehab instead of rehab. So for example, I take somebody who does 10-minute pace mile. If they're gonna run, appreciate the support. This goes a book. Thank you guys. So if you're running 10-minute pace per mile, so if you're gonna do 7-mile run or 8-mile run, right? Use that, instead of doing, I heard about this, go the extra mile, go the extra mile. It's not about the extra mile. It's how you take care of yourself. So if you have somebody's running 10-minute mile, use that 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, to be able to do the stretching, the calves, the hamstring, the quads, and the Achilles. Those are the core. Use that to stretch 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. If you can do that, you'll be better the next day, and you're gonna train consecutively, which is gonna help you to enjoy it much more longer and have a good time. So ice is one of your best friends. If you feel something in your Achilles or the calf or the knee, put a patch on it, or they have some machine that's called not Ziploc, but it's called Hyper Ice. I'm not endorsing it. I used it. Just use it, and we're able to, when you walk around or in your office, you just put ice, and it's good. So Stretching is important, drills is important, but also nutrition. Nutrition is important. Have a snack, whether it's apple, bananas, or power bar, generation you can, crave jerky, whatever it is, have it in your desk or your bag, so don't wait until you get hungry. Because when you get hungry, you're gonna eat anything that you see. And that's me, at least. So, just most importantly, meet with somebody, because if you're meeting somebody, you're gonna be accountable to get there, and you're gonna be early, you're gonna get it done, and you're gonna get it running. So, prehab instead of rehab. We all go there, but at the same time, do what you can to control it. You never know it's coming. Sometimes you wake up the next day, you're like, oh, my Achilles. So, but do those salt stretches.
Okay, we have a 4-time Olympian here. I'm sure more of you have questions. Who has a question? Let's start here. It's closer.
Any good stories, Galen Rupp, state of U.S. running?
Not interesting stories, but I commend him for bringing the medal back home, bronze medals, huge accomplishment on his. I'm not surprised. I really thought, I told my wife he can medal, and in fact, some people say 10K, I think it helped him more than hurt him, because 8 days in between, and that's what I did. 6-7 mile tempo on Friday before the Sunday race, a week out. So. I worked out with Jared Ward, and I called down and talked to him, and Galen was so with his group, with his area, and but there was one picture that was requested by a famous photographer beforehand, and he declined it, and we did it afterward. But it's all this, would you be able? I feel like being part of the team is be able to 30 seconds not gonna take too much of you when you're doing that same area. Smile, it's not a big request, but I stayed in a hotel. I did not go to the village. I did not visit the village. I stayed in a hotel because I came in on Wednesday before my Sunday race, and I'm not even sure if he stayed in the village. But my brother, I wanted to take it more for my girls to the village, but my brother went and saw it, and it says 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes back, and before the race, probably not worth it. So. I think she got the mic. Okay.
I saw your post-race interview in Rio with your girls, and what do they think of Dad? Like, do they have any idea of all this that surrounds you?
My girls are the love of my life, my joy, but sometimes it's strange because I'll be walking around. So my middle child, she's kind of shadows me. She wants to stretch with me and eat whatever I eat, and we walk around Old Town or other things. Like I wave hello or say hi, hey Meb, how you doing? And I say, hi, how you doing? And it's like, how do you know him? Or how do you know her? And I'm like, I have to explain that the oldest one have an idea, but the middle one is in the middle of it. And I said, well, I represent our country the best that I can, whether it's running the New York City Marathon or the Boston Marathon or at the Olympics, and they kind of see me on TV and they think, I represent what their beliefs are, and that's what. You met them before? I'm like, no, they're just like, that's cool. And then, but the oldest one, when I won Boston, I can talk a little bit about Boston if we have the time. Boston was the most meaningful victory of my career ever, and will be. I was there in 2013. And I was there for four and a half hours, just because I don't get the opportunity. I'm a student of the sport. I love people who exercise. I love people who run. I want to be at the finish line, but sometimes due to drug testing or media, I was not able to do it. So I was there for 4.5 hours, and I had an appointment. I left 5 minutes prior to the bombing. In fact, I was in admiration. I'm like, those are cool condos. We should go ask them and crash the party and ask them for a tea, because I'm really cold right now. And my friend is like, well, we have to go all the way around and around and around with security. We can't get there. And you know what happened afterwards. So I take a personal commitment to say, I want to be able to win for the people. I want to win it for Boston. And you can want it, you can desire, but just like Rio, some things don't go the way you plan, and other things click the way you want them to click, and that's what happened. And Boston 2014 was incredible for me and for our country, and to be able to chant USA, USA on Boston Street, and remember that 520 miles that I ran in 7th grade, When I was running at mile 16, guess what that mile was? That was a 4:30 mile. Going a little bit downhill, but when you are the conscious on your shoulder, you do whatever it takes. And you're like, I hope nobody catches me, but that was a good move or a stupid move, we'll see. And a mile 18 and 19, and people are chanting USA, USA. I couldn't help it. I'm like, USA. I'm like, concentrate on the race. You could do that afterward. And I had a minute and 15-second lead, and eventually came to very short period, 5-6 seconds. But at mile 22, I got cramp on left side. I'm like, the hill's over, but I got cramp. I'm like, just pushing. 23, I look to the right. Something told me that look right, and I see, oh my gosh, I've been leading for this long, and it's gonna catch me. So 3 things came to mind: slow down for him to catch up and save your energy, maintain that gap, or trying to extend the gap. And first one is kind of stupid rule, because if somebody catches up to you, they got the mental edge over you. And so I was just like, maintain the gap or extend the gap. And then at 24, bad things happen to your body. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up. But you can't go to the side and throw up when he's like closing on you. Just put your head up and try to check forward, And at 25, I have the bibs of the victims on the names on my bib, and I just said, God, please help me, give me their energy. And the crowd was fascinating, and people are chanting USA, USA. People are doing the wave. I'm like, keep going. And then I see 1 kilometer to go. I'm like, I know it's international language, but right now it's not helping me. It's probably gonna help him. He knows exactly how far that is. And I said, lean forward, the downhill over the pass, and then short strides up the hill. Boston, how many of you have done Boston? Yeah, point to point, and there's no turns, right? I say, the finish line for me is the turn on Hereford. Sprint as hard as he can, and by the time he turns, make the gap bigger, and he's gonna have mentally defeated. And then I'm going to Boston. I'm like, God, give me the strength. I still looks like it's right there, but I know 600 meters to get to the finish line. I just keep chugging away, and it gave me great pride to chant USA, USA, going on Boylston where the bombing happened, and everybody in the feet, and be the first American in 31 years to pull the victory for us. When the Red Sox won and put the trophy, when the Red Sox won and put the trophy at the finish line, I said, Boston needed that. But I'm like, I want to do that on Patriots Day, on Marathon Monday, and my dream came true. Going to the race, I was the 19th fastest, less than 1% chance, almost 39 years old. The chances were not good, but if you believe in yourself and your team, great things happen. And 2 weeks shy of my 39th birthday, I was able to run a personal best, which is still my fastest time ever. So.
Okay, we have a time for one more question before I have to take Meb off stage.
We'll come back to you.
Do your daughters run? You girls?
I'll answer that question, and we'll come back to this gentleman who had his questions the first one. So, my girls love to run. If they decide to run, they're gonna get a good advice. If they decide to go to tennis, I gotta pay for it. No, they really did enjoy it. They got a great form, great mechanic. They play soccer right now, which is my other passion, and I try to move side to side. I can't do it very well anymore. But no, they actually ask my wife to take them to the track, and then sometimes they're, Dad, can we take me run around the block? I'm like, yes. I don't want to force them, but as long as they want to do it, and I'll be more than happy to do it. And they really do enjoy it. They took a piano right now, and try to get them as much as we can outdoors. And they love hiking. We lived in Mammoth Lakes for a little bit, so they kind of know the outdoor stuff. And so they definitely enjoy outdoors. And running is kind of tickles my heart if they know it. And I know they're going to be faster than me one day. So, but I hear like you guys, where there's mother, daughter, father, son, or partners, or their fathers running with daughters, and I said, I wonder if that's going to be one day. That's going to be me one day. So I hope it is. So, but so far they love running. So we'll finish out with you.
As you've gotten older, have you had to reduce your mileage or alter your training plans, or have you been able to stay consistent with what you've done from, say, 10 years ago?
The question is, as I gotten older, have I reduced my mileage? And the answer is absolutely yes. I used to run my peak period. I try to go to 150 miles a week, 150. my body breaks down. So the most I've done is 136. Right now, I try to do to 100, 110, maybe 115. I do elliptical, which is I think behind over here. The elliptical, I use that as my cross training. I mainly do one single run and then elliptical in the night, in the evening. So for example, it's all on the Meb for Mortals or Run to Overcome, but I'll give you an example. If I do a tempo run or my repeat, so tempo is a race pace. So I do anywhere, start out with 5 miles to 6 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, and ultimately I know I'm ready if I could do 10 to 15 miles at race pace with about 100 to 150 miles a week on top of that. So now I go 100, 10 mile tempo for example, 10 mile tempo, 3 mile warm up, 10 mile tempo, 4 mile cool down, maybe sometimes 5. Take the afternoon off, so to avoid injury, because as you get older, you have to reduce it. And definitely I'm not running the way I used to run, so there's no time to think about it. I wish those days we can come back, but we all know that they don't. You just gotta seize the moment and get the best out of yourself each time, and do the little stretching that you do, the little core that you do if you're on TV or something. I know I'm crazy, but I do some crunches when I'm watching TV sometimes, and be able to do that, because stretching while on the sidewalk or watching TV, 2-3 minutes will save you a lot, and it's prevention instead of because it's inevitable. Your body is gonna not give up, but it's gonna reduce your speed, it's gonna reduce your flexibility and all those things. But if you do all this hops and one leg balance and things like that is talked about in the book, you will bounce back. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wish you guys all the best tomorrow and have fun.